Okay, so in this video I'm going to specialize my database class so that it is aligned with a customer class or person class. I think with my table is called person. I'm going to change it actually. I'm going to call it customer. I'm going to have customers. So I'm going to have I've got a table called customers. But at the moment I've got a database class, and just if you didn't see the previous video, so here we go, I've got class database, it's got a connection string, it's got a connection, and in the constructor it's checking to see if the database exists. If it doesn't exist, it's going to create the database. If it already does exist, it'll just create a new connection to it, and in the destructor the connection is going to close. Now I had created a function called initialize, which basically creates the table customers. Now this is fine, but if you think we've probably got lots of different tables, and it kind of makes sense really to have one class per table. Now in this video what I'm also going to do is I'm going to insert some data into my table. Okay, so first things first, let's create a new class, and this particular class I'm going to call it customers after my table. Okay, so here we go. So add. So now I've got customers. Now my customers class is going to inherit from database. Okay, and I'm just thinking. So okay, so there's some of the things that I need to do. I need to be able to access some things from. Now I'm just thinking, do I need the connection? Now I don't need the connection string, that can remain private, but I do need the connection. So I'm going to make that protected. Okay, because that's the connection that the database is going to give me. And now I can pull over this function here. So I'm just literally going to cut and paste. So here we go, cut. Okay, and now I'm going to go to customers and I'm going to paste it. Oops, here we go. Paste it in here. Now I'm just going to build this, just check that it works. Okay, data does not contain, right, okay. So in the last video, I did a little bit of a check here, and this needs to be fixed because what I actually want to do, I want to create some customers. Okay, and so they're going to be typed customers, and I want to initialize it like that. Let's just check. So we created the table called customers. Now I'm going to just go and delete my database. There we go. And let's just run this and see if it works. So here we go. So I created customers. Now when I go inside the constructor now, it still comes inside the database, because the way that constructors work is it calls the constructor for customers, and that in turn then calls the constructor for databases, because database has been inherited. Okay, so if the file doesn't exist, create it. So there we go. So it's create new connection and open that connection. That's fine. And now we're going to go inside customers, and because we've already initialized the connection, it has been initialized and it's there, and we're getting that connection from the databases class. So this should all just work. Create the table. Happy days. Right, let me just close that. Let's just go into our file, have a quick look inside our database. And now we've got a table called customers. Brilliant, with ID, name and age. Excellent. Right, I now want to insert some data. And this is brilliant because I can create a function here. Look, here we go. Public insert. I'm going to call it insert because it's called customers. So, oh, hang on. Here we go. Void insert. When we're writing it, we're going to go customers.insert. Or I tell you what, no, let's add. That's a better word. Okay, and we've got the name. In fact, let's just have a little look. So we've got the name and the age. Okay, now we don't need to add the ID. We're going to do that internally, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute, in the next video actually. So I've got the name and the age, so int age. Okay. So to add, I'm going to go back to my Word file, okay, and using the database, because I don't remember how to do this off the top of my head. Now, bearing in mind that when we have you do a command, we need to create the connection and we need to open it. Well, let's just go and have a little look at our code, because if I look inside the database now, whenever I create a database object, I automatically create a connection and I open it and I automatically close it. So I never need to do that again. Okay, so just duplicating work. So what I need to do, the bit that I need is this. So we create a command, we add the connection, and then we're going to add some text. So here we go. Let's just copy and paste this. Okay. So let's go to my customers. Right. So here we go. And actually that is a sort of duplicate here. Now I'm going to leave that for the time being, but the connection equals the connection like that. And the command text now is insert into table, it's customers, isn't it? Okay. The values, now I'm going to just give it a value here, 1. Okay, but we can substitute these for my parameters. So here we go, name. Oh, actually, hang on. All right, okay, so I just need to do plus name plus comma plus and it's going to be plus, hang on, comma plus, there we go, plus h plus bracket. Okay, I think that's going to be okay. So I'm just going to go back to my form because I'm going to just test and see if this works. So customers dot add, okay, and let's go for Bob always, and Bob's going to be 23, my age. Right, I'm going to keep my breakpoint on, so here we go. So I'm going to just see what happens in the initialize now, okay, because I've got a feeling, oh, it's going to crash, isn't it? So I only want to ever call this once, so that's going to crash because it already exists. So I think just for the sake of argument, now I need to add some, maybe I'm going to add some error correction here and just check that it doesn't exist. But for the time being, I'm just going to comment that out. So here we go. So I've got customers, there we go, and whoops, add. So step inside F11, so F10 step down, so insert the connection. Now I'm just going to check that this is all right. Now if you hover over the command text, ooh, hang on, why is that not showing up? Let's see if we can do add watch. Ooh, command text does not exist in the current context, so that's probably going to crash as well. Okay, so we need to kind of just work out why this isn't working. Right, well let's just try and do this. The string command equals. So let's see if that works. And then I'm just going to make that equal to that. Because there's something fishy going on here, and I'm just going to put breakpoint there. Okay. And if this doesn't work, I might have to stop the video and just see if it works. Right, so here we go. So string command, so the command text. So, okay, so let's just see if this works. Ah, right, I see where the problem is. Insert into customers values 1 and Bob. And Bob, in this case, needs to be surrounded by quotations. So where I've gone wrong is I need a quote there and a quote there. Now I'm going to show you how to improve this in a minute because this is the bad way of doing it. But for the time being, let's kind of just rock on. So here we go. So let's just check this again. So there we go. And if you press the magnifying glass, you can actually see it sort of in a nice thing. So insert into customers values 1, Bob 23. Perfect. That's going to work perfectly. So F10, and let's just check the command text. So the command text looks perfect as well. And now if I execute the query, happy days. So that's worked. There's our form. And now let's just have a little look inside inside the database. And here we go, double click. There we go. So we've got Bob and the age. So that has added it perfectly. Okay. And we've got this beautiful situation now where we have got one class which is just responsible for customers. Now, one thing I'm noticing is this thing called command, and I'm going to add a new function here that I'm only going to make available to classes that are the inherit database. I don't want people who just create databases for the sake of it to be able to access this. So I'm going to make it protected. So it's effectively private. And what it's going to do, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got a little bit of duplication here because look, I've duplicated those 2 lines there and duplicated those 2 lines here. So I'm going to create something that returns one of these. Okay, so it's going to return one of those and it's going to be called get command. Okay, that's all it's going to do. And I'm going to copy these 2 lines of code here, like this. So copy, paste. And so that's setting up my connection, and then I'm going to return the command. Okay, get command. Okay, or should we say get command or make command? We'll do get command. Okay. So now what I can do is I can go OLE command like that equals get command. Okay, and I can do exactly the same here. So can you see now we're just reducing the amount of code that I need. So these here can be replaced with that. So 2 lines becomes 1 line. And this will continue to work, and it's brilliant. So I'm going to stop there. So what I've done in this video is I created a class called customers. It inherits database, and I've moved all the things to do with customers into my class called customers. Everything to do with databases is in my database class. Okay, so the database is responsible for creating the database, for ensuring there's a connection is open, for closing the connection in the destructor, and I've also just created a little function here called getCommand, which just returns a command. And that's it. Cheerio.